So in between episodes, I went back into the Safari Zone to catch all the Pokemon that are exclusive to it, and while in there, I also took the chance to catch the Pokemon that are not exclusive to that area, but I didn't catch before because, well, I didn't have enough money to buy enough Pokeballs, and I just wanted to conserve a little bit of money because, well, money is kind of scarce in this game, and, well, of course, in the beginning of the game, I prefer to spend that money on potions and whatnot than on Pokeballs, in case I find the Pokemon that I want, when I can just catch it later when I do have plenty of money, like now. Those Pokemon being Nidoranmayo and Nidorino, which really wasn't that much. They weren't hard at all, they were just, I found them, hey, they're here, boom, done, yay. And then I moved on to the Pokemon that are exclusive, which included Tangela, Chansey, Tauros, and Kangaskhan. Pinsir and Scyther were obtained from the game corner because I just thought it would be easier to grind the coins than to go through the frustration of not being able to find them, and then when I did find them, not being able to catch them, like it was with these 4 guys, oh my gosh. The first one that I went for is Tangela. The strategy is simple, you enter the area that you want to find your Pokemon in, and then you save the game. Saving the game allows you to reset in case you run out of steps, so you don't have to re-enter the Safari Zone and spend more money. That's just common sense. The first Tangela I found was about 5 minutes in, it ran away immediately, no biggie. But then I found another one, and again, it ran away immediately, oops. And then it was another long while before I found another Tangela. It actually took so long, about 10 minutes, that I found a Chansey. But I was completely unable to catch it because, well, it's a freaking Chansey and its catch chance is so low that you just completely miss the Pokeball. Freaking Chansey, I just, In my frustration and impatience and aim button mashing, I ended up catching another Nidoranmayo, which was completely unnecessary because I had already caught one. But a couple minutes after that, I found a Tangela, and after debating whether I should throw a rock, which would make it angrier and thus more likely to run away, but also easier to catch, I decided to just throw a Pokeball and catch. I give it a fitting nickname and moved on to the next one. Or should I say, ones. The best place to catch chances is of course Area 1 right next to its central area, and Tauros also shows up that are a 10% chance only in Pokemon Yellow. As you already know, their chance of spawning is already super low, and their chance of being caught is even lower. The fact that we only have to use Safari Balls at full health and nothing else makes it even harder, and they pretty much run away every single first turn. It is super rare to find a Chansey or a Tauros that will not run away on the very first turn. The strategy was very straightforward. Find one, throw a Pokeball. Don't even try to throw rocks, don't even try to throw bait, because not even bait might hold them in battle. And that is literally the best way to try and catch both of those Pokemon, because oh my goodness, they are such a headache. But after having quite a few Tauros escape my grasp, I finally managed to catch one and give it a very proper nickname. Not long after that, I also found myself a Chansey who decided to stay in a Pokeball. And I just thought it was funny that it was called the Egg Pokemon. And last but not least, the final Pokemon on my list is Kangaskhan. Just like Chansey and freaking Tauros, and also Pinsir and Scyther if you wanna go through that headache. Kangaskhan is a pain to catch, holy smokes, at least it shows up a little more often, but it is still just as hard to get in a freaking Pokeball. I had to reset the game a total of 4 times. My time in the Safari Zone ran out 4 times until I finally caught a Kangaskhan. Was it the hardest one of the bunch to catch? No, that was Chansey. It simply takes more steps to get to the area where Kangaskhan spawns, so we have fewer steps to run around and try to find one, so you know, it's basic math. But after quite a few tries and a couple resets, I finally got one as well. Before turning off the game, I decided to go back to Cycling Road and pick up a few items that I didn't get. The first one is right there in the middle of that grass. The second one is right above the very first sign. You can see that right there. Next one is if you keep going down on that middle road, you're gonna come across this train right here, and if you just go to the left and a little bit up, you can get yourself a Max Revive. Next one is all the way to the right. You can see the edge right there. Just go down a few steps from that train that stands in the middle of the grass, and you find yourself a PP up. Last one is down at the bottom. Just check it out, Max Elixir. And that is all that I did in between episodes. But Red, I hear you ask. I'm a very eagle-eyed watcher, and I noticed that you did not catch an Execute in the episode before that, and you also did not show yourself catching an Execute in this quick recap. What's up with that? Well, you are correct. I did not catch myself an Execute. I caught 6. They're all level 26, and after taking them to Pokemon Stadium to analyze their stats, I decided to keep only one of them. Why is that, you may ask? Let's keep watching. On to the episode. Hello everybody, it's Red, and welcome back to more Pokemon Yellow. Last time, we went into the Safari Zone and caught ourselves a bunch of Pokemon, as well as collecting HM03 Surf, HM04 Strength, and that was about it. This time, we're gonna take a look at just one of those Pokemon actually that we caught, because guess what? Frieza the Execute is joining our team, heck yeah! So, back when we got Bulbasaur, I said that I had other plans for a grass type, and these are my plans. Now, there is a little something because, yeah, grass types are not exactly strong here in Generation 1. So, yeah, the best move that they can get is Solar Beam, and I'm not a huge fan of that move. It's super powerful, but no. Also, 26 is the highest level that you can get Execute at. However, the only move that I really care about on Execute is a move that it learns at level 28. So I took out a couple rare candies that I have right here. So let's just use those. A 1 and a 2. Frieza grew to level 28 and learned Leech Seed. That's it. Leech Seed is such a great move that I just have to use it. This does mean that for a while, all Frieza's gonna do is use a stalling strategy of bulking up and using Leech Seed, but you know, it's better than nothing. And there we have it. That's pretty much all I wanted to do for right now. So while we're here in Fuchsia City, there's this house that I did not go into. Also, just to point it out, I did do some shopping, so you have my item list in the corner. Don't need to say that. So this guy right here, let's talk to him. I'm the fishing guru's older brother. I simply love fishing. Do you like to fish? Well, if you say no, nothing's gonna happen, so let's say yes. I love fishing. Grand. I like your style. Take this and fish, young one. And we received the good rod, yes. Just like the old rod, the good rod is used for fishing. And again, just like the old rod, the good rod has fixed encounters no matter where you fish in the game. The good rod will always fish one of 2 Pokemon. The old rod, it could only fish up Magikarp, that's just how it worked. But the good rod can actually get you Poliwag. Yeah. Now, Poliwag is not the only Pokemon that you can get with the good rod. You can also find... Sure, let's find it. You can also find Goldeen. And both Poliwag and Goldeen will always be at level 10 with the good rod. So, you know, do with that what you will. Just like the old rod could only catch Magikarp at level 5, the good rod can only catch Poliwag or Goldeen at level 10. It will never be anything different. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, didn't even need to use Leech Seed there. Fine. And that's a good rod. It's super simple. I'm gonna talk about Goldeen and Poliwag in a bit. Because, well, today we're gonna go through a very long route. Meaning that we're gonna have plenty of time to talk about Pokemon. So yeah, that's literally all I wanted to do here in Fuchsia City for now. So, what I want to do next is fly up to Lavender Town. Now, as you might remember, to get to Fuchsia City, what we did was head east on Cerulean City onto Route 16, then Route 17, which is Cycling Road, then down to Route 18, and then we got to Fuchsia. However, you can take another path, and that path is right here through Lavender Town. If you just go south of here, I think I pointed it out, but I didn't actually show it. Let's see. Route 12, north to Lavender, yeah. If you just come down here, we're gonna find a gate. There's a lookout upstairs, yeah. We're gonna take a look at that in a second. And if we keep going south, just a little bit more, that is a trainer. Let's see, no, we can't avoid it. Oh well. Okay, sure, let's show it off. I got a bite here. This guy is gonna be a fisherman, meaning that he's gonna use water-type Pokemon. So it's good that we have a grass-type in the lead. So yeah, that's Goldeen right there. Hello, Goldeen. So let's just show off how Frieza is gonna work for a little while. Well, there's Peck, super effective, but fortunately Peck is super weak, so so what? And I'm gonna use Reflect, which is gonna increase my bulk. Leech Seed is gonna take effect after Goldeen acted, so I steal some HP. There we go. There's Reflect. And now my defense is higher. Then I'm just gonna use Hypnosis. Hopefully I can put it to sleep. There's Leech Seed again. Oh, I missed. Let's try that again. Critical hit. Jeez. Come on. Sleepy, sleepy. There we go. 70% accuracy. And then I'm just gonna barrage, because I have nothing else to do. So this is gonna be the strategy with Frieza for a good while. Until we get better moves for it, this is all we're gonna do. Just gonna set up Leech Seed, put up a barrier, and try to put the enemy to sleep, and then spam whatever attack we have. That's until we get better moves on it. Oh, woke up. we're gonna take one hit, but hopefully we can still put it back to sleep again. Ooh, there's Pack. There goes the bird. So yeah, this is literally the strategy that you're gonna use with a few grass types. This is not the fastest way to fight. If I had switched to Zoo, this battle would already be over. But yeah, I mean, this is a strategy that you can use. It definitely works really well. And for some Pokemon, this is the best strategy. Not for Execute or its evolution, but I'm just gonna stay out here and then switch because I do need to level up this guy. Yeah, it's not the best strategy for Execute, you just get stronger moves, but for right now we don't have those stronger moves, so that is all we can do. That's the best we can do. So, yeah. There's Poliwag. Of course, Poliwag is a water type, super effective damage from electric. It's also super weak, as it is. So, yeah, I'm not worried at all about these guys. They're just super easy to take down. I just want to go through this battle to show off something that is very cool. Come on. Switch over to Zoo. Yeah. It's not fast, it's not effective, but it is a strategy, and guess what? It's fun. Because you get to watch your opponent suffer bit by bit. Yes. Just a small fry. I have no idea what he was talking about. And then if we keep going... I'm gonna cut this one out. Be patient. Fishing is a waiting game. Honey, there's no space on YouTube for patience. Sorry. Yeah, they're running away. What do you have to say, Mr. Patient Man? With a better rod, I could catch better Pokemon. Ah, yes, that's true. Old Rod, only Magikarp, Good Rod, Goldeen, and Poliwag. And there's actually something else. Let's just avoid this guy. Just gonna keep on going. I could be using the bike, but now I'm just gonna keep going like this. So if you look right here, just like in Route 16, there is also a sleeping Pokemon. Is this Snorlax? Yes, it's Snorlax. So in order to get to Fuchsia City, you can pick which way you want to go. Do you want to go south of Lavender and go through 4 entire routes with a bunch of trainers so you can get tons of experience? You can totally do that. Do you want to take the faster route through Cycling Road? You can also do that. Of course, to go through Cycling Road you need a bike. Well, you don't actually need it, you can just hold left and then you still go through. But that's a glitch, so the game is not supposed to do that. How are we gonna take care of the sleeping Pokemon? Well, the same way that we always take care of sleeping Pokemon. Play the Pokeflute. I still love the jingle, so good. And Snorlax wakes up. Hello! So yeah, just like the other Snorlax, level 30, if you want to catch it, this is the only other Snorlax in the game. Now, there are rumors that Snorlax shows up again if you defeat it. But that only happens after you beat the game. So if you defeat Snorlax and then you beat the game, Snorlax will be back. So you'll get another chance to catch it. Let's Hypnosis. This way you can't use Rest. Actually, I'm just gonna not bother. I'm gonna switch over to Riki. Yeah, I was gonna give it a fight, but this is just gonna take too long and Snorlax has Rest. So I'm not gonna catch this Snorlax because I already have one, meaning that I already have the Pokédex entry, and because I don't want to use Snorlax on my team, then yeah, there's really no point for me to catch this guy aside from it's a rare Pokemon that is very limited. So, I'm just gonna defeat this guy and then see if it does show up again after I beat the game. So there we go, submission, it's done, normal type. Snorlax has a lot of special, not a lot of defense. I mean, it does have a lot of defense, but it has more special. And there we go. Snorlax calmed down with a big yawn, it returned to the mountains. So yeah, rumor has it that after you beat the game, Snorlax will come back from the mountains and you'll get another chance to catch it. However, I don't know if that's just in the remakes, if it is in the remakes at all, or if it is in this game as well. So yeah, there we go. Now, Because we have a new team member and it is low level, it's 28 compared to our lowest 34 on Zoo, I'm gonna take the time to train up Frieza up to par with the rest of the team. Did I need to use those rare candies to get it up to level 28? Absolutely not. It would get up to level 28, but I just wanted it to get to level 28 before I started going through the route so I could use the Leaf Stone and evolve my Execute. Eggs become tree! And if you're wondering why I called my Execute Frieza, you can probably make the connections by looking at the Generation 3 Pokédex entry for Executor and then looking at Generation 7. That's all the hint I'm gonna give. Oh, it's trying to learn Stomp. Sure, we'll learn Stomp. Okay. Let's get rid of... We'll get rid of Reflect. Which one do I... I'm actually gonna get rid of all three of them, so... goodbye, Reflect. There we go, 1, 2, and poof. We got Reflect and Learn Stomp. There we go. Not only that, but also in the Safari Zone, I actually picked up TM37, which contains Egg Bomb. Now, Egg Bomb is a really powerful move, 100 power. I think it's 80 accuracy. And it's just a really good move that can only be learned by Execute, Executor, and Chansey. So yeah, I definitely want to use it because it's a little bit of a novelty. So I'm just gonna get rid of Barrage. Yeah, whatever. It's better, it's stronger. Barrage is not that strong. And we'll learn Egg Bomb. But also, I took out TM21 that we got from Erica, which is Mega Drain. Is it from Erica? Or did we get it somewhere else? I don't remember. Might be Giga Drain from Erica. I don't know. So I'm also going to teach that to Frieza because it's the only grass type move that we have. And since we're going to be fighting quite a few water type trainers, might as well have Mega Drain. It's a grass type move, it's going to give us an edge. So we don't have to rely on Zoo. And it also heals you, so yeah, it's really good. And there we go. Okay, so I just went back to Lavender real quick to heal up, for no reason at all. Because right over here, oh, let's see if we can skip this guy. Oh, we can't. Darn it. Yeah, I ended up fighting one trainer on the way here, might as well fight another one. And show off what Executor is capable of. Oh, this guy's a punk rocker. Or just rocker. So here we go, Voltorb. It's super fast, it's electric type, it's the same level as I am. Egg Bomb should do the most. Sonic Boom's only gonna deal 20 damage because it's a move with fixed damage. It always deals 20 damage regardless of defense, or whatever. There we go. Powerful move. And then Stomp. Stomp is a little bit weaker, and here in Generation 1 it doesn't have the added effect of dealing double damage to enemies who use Minimize. So yeah. The good thing about Executor is that it actually has pretty usable attack stat as I talked about back in the bio. So, you know, it's nice to have all this stuff. Oh, this guy probably has Explosion or Self-Destruct. Yeah. Figured as much. Let's see if I can survive this. Do I have the bulk? Yeah, okay, good. Maybe Electro just doesn't have the attack, not me having the bulk. Or maybe both, I don't know. There we go, Rocker's dead. Unplugged! Now, if we come down here right after Snorlax, there's this other house. And if we talk to this guy, he looks familiar. I'm the fishing guru's brother. I simply love fishing. Do you like to fish? Sure, I do. Grand, I like your style. Take this and fish, a young one. And we receive the Super Rod. Now, as a comparison to the old Rod, the Super Rod is actually very good. The old Rod, only level 5 Magikarp. The good Rod, only level 10 Goldeen and Poliwag. The Super Rod, it can actually catch a bunch of different Pokemon. The Super Rod's encounters actually depend on where you fish. And levels are also very different. So let's see what we just get here. This is Route 13, I think? Yeah, Horsey, look at that. And it's level 20, so it is actually at usable levels most of the time. So let's just Mega Drain to get rid of it, just to get some cheap experience. So yeah, now that we have the Good Rod and the Super Rod, we can actually talk about quite a few Pokemon. And also, just something that is a little interesting, you can actually get the Super Rod way before you get the Good Rod. That's also part of the reason why I wanted to go through Cycling Road instead of these routes. So I could get you Fuchsia, get the Good Rod, and after that get the Super Rod. Because, yeah, if you want to, you can just come down here through Lavender, get the Super Rod, and never even touch the Good Rod. Because you can actually find Poliwag and Goldeen with the Super Rod. You don't need the Good Rod at all. But anyway, now that we have this Super Rod, all there's left for us to do is pick up a few items and fight a bunch of trainers. So I'm just gonna go back and fight everyone. So I'm just gonna speed it all up and meet you guys back in Fuchsia City. Now, before we start talking about the Pokemon that we can find, I just want to once again point out the sidebar, because here we're going to be talking about Pokemon in 4 different routes. Routes 12, 13, 14, and 15. So, just so you don't waste any time running around thinking that you can find a Pokemon when you actually can't because you're in the wrong route, just pay attention to the sidebars so you know when the route switches. This way you can always look for the places where it's most likely that you run into your Pokemon, and of course you can possibly run into your Pokemon. One of those examples would be Ditto, not available on Route 12, only 13, 14, and 15, and only on Pokemon Red and Blue. Usually I wouldn't talk about a Pokemon that can't be found in Yellow quite yet, but because I want to talk about other stuff later on, I'm just going to talk about Ditto right now. And what is Ditto good for? Well, honestly, if you look at its base stats, not that much. 48 across the board is not a good strat distribution. But does that matter? Not that much. Ditto's moveset consists of one move and one move only: Transform. It never learns anything through level up, it can never learn any TMs or HMs. Ditto can only ever know Transform, and what does Transform do? Does that make up for its sports stats? Well, yeah, kinda. Transform will make it so that the Pokemon that used it will turn into a copy of the Pokemon it was used on. So let's say Ditto's facing a Venusaur. Ditto's gonna use Transform, and then Ditto's gonna become an actual Venusaur. Instead of using Ditto's 48 crummy across the board stats, it will use Venusaur's really good base stats. Not only that, but it will also copy the type and current moveset for that Pokemon. Doesn't matter if it's a TM moveset or something that is above Ditto's level, it will always copy that moveset. However, Transform will always copy moveset with only 5 PP for each move. So is it perfect? No, it isn't. It is actually very, very balanced. And Transform will wear off every time you switch Ditto out or the battle ends. So if you don't want to stay transformed with that Pokemon with your Ditto, you can just switch out and then switch it back in when you find another Pokemon that you might want to transform into. Ditto's strategy is super simple. You wait for your opponent to send out a really strong Pokemon, and then you switch into your Ditto and transform into that, and then do as much as you possibly can with your Ditto. However, Transform is a very balanced move. In order for Ditto to not be an overpowered Pokemon, they made it so that Transform does not copy the Pokemon's HP, meaning that your HP will be the crummy 48 base. Doesn't matter who you transform into, you are always gonna have 48 base HP taken into your calculation. Also, it doesn't recover HP, so if you lost HP, you'll have the same amount of HP. So even if you turn into a Chansey, you'll still have pretty bad HP. So Transform is a move that you need to know when to use, because otherwise, you are gonna throw yourself into a corner and your Ditto is gonna be completely useless for the entire battle. This makes Ditto a really hard Pokemon to use, especially in the single player adventure, if you don't know who you're up against. If you do research, you can strategize by thinking, oh, I'm gonna send out Ditto when my opponent sends out their Dragonite. Then I'm gonna turn into Dragonite and Hyper Beam everything. So if you wanna do research, you can do that and it will make Ditto more viable. But if you're playing the adventure sorta blind, then yeah, Ditto will be kinda difficult to use. It will be more of a reactive Pokemon than a proactive Pokemon, and that's not always a good option. And when it comes to Versus, yeah, it can be really good, but you know, your opponent will know how bad Ditto stats are, so it will just, you know. And because Ditto copies types, it will also get those same weaknesses, so it's always kind of difficult to use Ditto against a human. Not only that, but also because of Ditto's speed, it will usually go second in battle, meaning that it will take at least one hit, usually, because it needs time to be able to use Transform, because it has low speed, so it will usually move second. And of course, it will take that damage, taking into account that special and defense from, well, Ditto's scrummy 48 across the board. So, you know, Ditto is an interesting Pokemon. It's definitely a gimmick Pokemon, not something that you're gonna use because you need the strongest Pokemon in the game. It's kind of like Metronome, in a sense. You use it because it's fun, because it's gimmicky, not because you want the most powerful stuff possible. Now let's talk water types. First of all, with the Good Rod, there is a 50% chance that you will fish up Goldeen. With the Good Rod, Goldeen will always be level 10, and that is at this point really low level. But not to worry, because you can also catch Goldeen with the Super Rod at more appropriate levels. Just make sure you do your research. Bulbapedia links in the doobly-doo. Now, Goldeen as a Pokemon is actually pretty good. I wouldn't say it's very good because its stats are basically okay. but it will level up at level 33 into Seeking. And Seeking is actually a pretty good offensive water type, with some bulk actually. Now when it comes to water types, they are all pretty much very powerful. And because they are all pretty much very powerful, Seeking, even though it has good power, it ends up being outclassed by a lot of other water types. I mean, even Gyarados is better than Seeking, and Gyarados evolves from Magikarp at level 20, so at this point you should have zero problem raising a Magikarp. I mean, a lot of people give Seeking a hard time, and it's not because it's a bad Pokemon, it's just because there are better Pokemon out there, better water types. It has good physical attack, it has good HP and good special. Its speed is not the best, of course. Water type aren't known for being very fast, but its moveset actually backs up those stats really well by giving it pretty strong physical moves, most of them via TM, but also really good water moves. And it has the signature move Waterfall. Seeking and Goldeen are the only Pokemon in the entire game that can learn Waterfall. Not that that matters a whole lot because Waterfall is outclassed by Surf, which by this point you should have the HM for if you don't just go to the Safari Zone. Super easy to find. And it has no secondary effect, it's basically a weaker Surf. So having exclusive access to Waterfall doesn't actually give Seeking an edge at anything. What does give it an edge over other water types, however, is the ability to use Peck. Oh, Peck, 35 base power flying type move. It's a flying type move, it will give you some type coverage, but honestly, you're better off using Takedown or Double Edge or Surf. But also, the one-hit knockout move Horn Drill. There is an exploit that you can perform in Generation 1, where if you use an X accuracy, your Pokemon's accuracy will go to 100%. And if you combo that with Horn Drill will always hit. You are guaranteed to knock out 5 Pokemon. Unless of course they put up a substitute, use Fly, Dig, or their Ghost type. So if you want a water type that can use those one-hit knockout moves, then Seeking will do that for you. However, if you want a water type to do proper battling, not gimmick battling, then Seeking is not the best choice, but it is absolutely a very solid choice. It will just do everything that other water types do, just a little bit worse because, well, its stats are outclassed by other Pokemon. Next up, also with a good rod, always at level 10, we have Poliwag. Now, Poliwag, it's there. Poliwag, as it is, it's not a great Pokemon at all. It is very fast for a first stage form, but yeah, those stats, they're just, oh my gosh. At this point in the game, they're just so bad. And the fact that you catch Poliwag always at level 10 with a good rod, yeah, it's really hard to recommend it. However, you can find Poliwag with the Super Rod, you can find Poliwhirl with the Super Rod. So you don't really have to go for Poliwag at all. But if you do, it will evolve into Poliwhirl at level 25 when it actually becomes somewhat usable. It is still a pretty weak Pokemon and it will remain a pretty weak Pokemon for a really long time. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, you do not want to use that Water Stone until Poliwhirl hits level 41. Because if you do, it's just gonna be one of the worst water types there is. I'm serious. What really makes Poliwhirl shine is the ability to use the move Amnesia. As we've already seen with Snorlax, Amnesia sharply raises special, meaning that it pretty much doubles, then triples, then quadruples your special if you use it 1, 2, and 3 times in battle. Does Poliwhirl have an amazing special? No, it does not. But does that matter when you literally can stack it up to 4 times that high? No? What? Come on! And the fact that once again, special is both an offensive and defensive stat. If you use Amnesia, you are increasing your bulk and your offense. That is amazing for water types. Now, when it comes to moves, they do learn pretty much the same stuff via level up, but Poliwhirl does have access to more TMs. So just in case you're wondering why Poliwag is not learning any TMs, it can learn a few TMs, but Poliwhirl has more TM compatibility. And you'll notice, if you look at the list, that Poliwhirl actually has access to quite a few strong physical TMs. And since you already waited for level 41 Amnesia, you might as well also wait for level 49 Hydro Pump. If you combo those two moves together, honestly, it will be pretty hard to find a Pokemon that you can't knock out in one hit. Amnesia Hydro Pump is a super strong combo. However, that does mean that you're gonna have to drag your Poliwhirl around until level 49, by which point, yeah, it is gonna be a very weak Pokemon. But if you wait until level 49, if you learn Amnesia and Hydro Pump, and then you evolve it with a Water Stone, you're gonna have access to probably what I want to say is the most competitively powerful water type in the entire game, Poliwrath. With its unique type of water fighting, Poliwrath is one of the strongest beasts in the entire game. For the single player adventure, it won't really shine that much, but if you're doing versus at all, Poliwrath is so good. Just stack up a couple amnesias and start spamming Hydro Pump that you learned as a Poliwhirl. If you find something with a lot of special defense, you can just use Submission with that same type attack bonus, and that actually pretty strong attack stats. And yeah, Poliwrath is on the slow side, but well, so what? You're so powerful, and Amnesia will make you so bulky that you can actually survive Psychic types. Even stuff as strong as Alakazam, or dare I say Mewtwo. I'm not joking, even though Poliwrath does take super effective damage from Psychic types, it has enough special and it has Amnesia, and it is able to tank those hits even from the most powerful of Psychic types. When it comes to versus, Poliwrath is one of your best options hands down. It is one of the best water types in the entire game. For the main adventure, I wouldn't say so, because it's not the most versatile water type out there, and it's also a very late bloomer. I'm serious, you'll probably hit level 49 only after, I don't know, the last gym, somewhere around that, so it will take a really long time. So I recommend either waiting a long time to catch Poliwhirl, so we can catch it at a high level and you won't need to do as much raising, or you tank through it and end up with one of the best versus water type Pokemon in the entire game. Also a little something that I think is kind of interesting, it's one of the first times we've seen this. Poliwag and Poliwhirl both have a 90 base speed, it doesn't increase at all after Poliwag evolves into Poliwhirl, but once Poliwhirl evolves into Poliwrath, it actually loses some speed. So that's just a little bit of an interesting thing that happens. It's not really a common motif around Pokemon because, well, with evolution you do become stronger, and it's hard to say that you are stronger if your stats are lower, but yeah, it's there. It's more so to balance the game out, because otherwise Poliwrath would just be way too powerful with 90 base speed or more. So yeah, they actually do lose speed as it evolves into Poliwrath. And that does it for the good rod encounters. Now moving on to stuff that is exclusive to the Super Rod. The first one is Tentacool. Now, Tentacool is one of the best examples that we'll see throughout the series of common does not equal weak. Tentacool is an extremely powerful water type. With a unique typing of water poison, Tentacool is extremely tanky. It does not have a lot of weaknesses. It is a water type that is not weak to grass, and it does have a lot of special prowess. At level 30 it will evolve into Tentacruel, where everything will just become that much more powerful. With HP and special that allows it to tank quite a lot, as well as speed, attack, and once again special that allows it to deal a lot of damage, Tentacruel is a powerhouse. It learns your usual water type stuff of Bubble Beam, Water Gun, Surf, Hydro Pump at high levels, as well as some ice moves in Ice Beam and Blizzard via TM. But it also has access to Mega Drain, which is interesting. Not that you would use Mega Drain against anything, because grass and water have a lot of offensive overlap. So a lot of stuff that is weak to grass is also weak to water, so you might as well use stuff that has same type attack bonus. But because of its attack stat, it can actually use physical attacks pretty well. Not only that, but it also gets access to the TM of Swords Dance. Swords Dance is a move that, just like Amnesia, will double, then triple, then quadruple your attack stat. This one's only for attack, because attack and defense are not the same stat, so yeah, it only increases attack, but it's there, and it will help you sweep around a lot of stuff. Now, just like most poison types throughout the game, Tentacruel's poison typing is more defensive than anything, because there aren't that many powerful poison type moves. The best poison type move you can possibly know is if you catch a Tentacool below level 22, which is like level 21 tops, when it will know Acid, which only has 40 base power, so its poison typing really isn't that powerful at all. So when it comes to physical attacks, you'll mostly be using normal type stuff in Takedown and Double Edge, if you want to combo that with Swords Dance, but honestly, I think you're better off just taking advantage of that amazing typing and try to tank as much as possible. Teach it Barrier, Reflect, Rest, Substitute, Double Team, make yourself really hard to knock out, and then just abuse that ridiculous special stat by spamming Surf and Ice Beam. Maybe even lay down a Toxic if you want. Tentacruel is a force to be reckoned with. It is a super powerful Pokemon that you should definitely consider. And just because it is common, just because it doesn't look that amazing, doesn't mean it is a weak Pokemon. It is in fact one of the strongest water types in the game. I mean, once again, every water type is super powerful, but Tentacruel is on the top of the list. Once again, it is not the most powerful, but unlike Poliwrath, it is actually very adventure ready, and it will also translate pretty well into verses if you want to do that. So there, Tentacruel, ridiculously powerful. There really isn't that much that I can say aside from it's a really strong water type Pokemon. Next up we have the physical beast Krabby. Yeah, its special sucks, yeah, its HP is non-existent, yeah, its speed is super low, but well, does that matter? Not really, unless of course you're fighting a grass or electric type, in which case you're not gonna survive, period. Krabby is built to be a slow physical sweeper. When it evolves at level 28 into Kingler, good lord, those stats are not to be joked with. You only get one TM for Swords Dance in the entire game, and it is pretty late, so it's pretty hard to reset the game just to get the TM again and trade it into your main cartridge. But if you're using Kingler, there's no doubt who you're gonna teach Swords Dance to. You're gonna teach it to Kingler. With 130 base attack, and Swords Dance that's gonna double, then triple, then quadruple that 130 base attack. Kingler is just ridiculously powerful. Does it learn a lot of physical moves? Well, it doesn't really have a lot of variability. It learns the basics of Body Slam, Takedown, Double Edge, Hyper Beam, as well as Strength. So that's pretty much all the physical moves you're gonna be using. So unless you're fighting a really tough physical wall, seriously, look at that, 130 base attack. You can Swords Dance that up. Kingler's gonna take everything down in one hit. Yeah, it will have recoil damage to worry about. Yeah, it's not the fastest Pokemon, so it will take a couple hits, making it not the best sweeper in the world. And of course, if you're fighting an electric type, you might as well give up because you're not gonna win. Electric types are faster, and Kingler does not have the special to defend against that, even against the weakest electric types, like Electrode or Pikachu. But against other stuff, dude, you will take stuff out in one hit, especially if you want to go for that Hyper Beam. Kingler is just too strong for its own good. Its weaknesses shine a lot, but, well, as long as you know how to play around those weaknesses, you really don't have a whole lot to worry about. Not only that, but it also has a lot of defense, and it does learn Harden later on. I wouldn't say with confidence that it is worth learning Harden. I would say consider it, maybe, because it will increase our bulk against physical attackers, and honestly, if you're fighting with Kingler, you are fighting against a physical attacker because it would be a huge mistake to send it out against a special attacker. So at least consider Harden, but yeah, Kingler is a ridiculously powerful physical attacker. But is that all? No, it isn't. It also gets access to the move Guillotine, which is once again a one-hit knockout move. So one more time for the people in the back. If you use an X accuracy, you can spam Guillotine. You are guaranteed at least 5 knockouts against your opponents unless they put up a substitute, use Fly, Dig, or their Ghost type. So Kingler can definitely take advantage of that ridiculous X accuracy strategy. And is that all? Is it a good water type? Oh wow, look at that special, it's so bad, it can't possibly be a good water type. So what? It totally is a super powerful water type. Its exclusive access to the move Crab Hammer makes it an actually viable water type even though it doesn't have a lot of special. Crab Hammer is one of those moves with high critical hit ratio, and Kingler's speed is above the always crit threshold for high crit chance moves. And I have done the math, guess what? In order for Crab Hammer to be out-damaged by Surf, Surf has to be used by the strongest water type in the game, who is Tentacruel. Well, not strongest, the one with the highest special stat. Only Tentacruel's Surf will outdamage Crab Hammer. The only other way to outdamage Crab Hammer is by using Hydro Pump, which has lower accuracy. Not to mention, because Crab Hammer is always a critical, it will always bypass effects of Amnesia. So if your opponent is spamming Amnesia, then Crab Hammer will just ignore that. Look, I know that in the later generations, Kingler is not that great because, well, it just becomes weaker as more Pokemon show up and moves change, and critical isn't as broken as it is here, as well as the X accuracy strategy. But for Generation 1, Kingler is a ridiculous beast, with ridiculous physical prowess, enough tanking ability when it comes to physical moves, and it is a water-type Pokemon that can actually deal a lot of water-type damage even though it doesn't have a high special stat. When it comes to the moves Ice Beam and Blizzard, yeah, Kingler will not be your best choice, so if you want to use Ice-type moves, then you will have to put them in someone else on our team, but seriously, Kingler, it's just too good. If you want a different water type, then Kingler will definitely be your guy, because most water types just spam Surf and Hydro Pump and that's it. Kingler at least plays very differently from other water types, which is super interesting. So definitely don't play this guy off just because you know it's not the best in the later generations. Here in Gen 1, oh my goodness, it is so strong. And now we have a little something that is not as recommendable because once again, by comparison, it's not that great of a water type. Horsey. Now, as it is, Horsey has very low HP, very low attack, meaning that it won't be using physical attacks that much, but it does have good defense and good special and good speed, so it can definitely do something. It will evolve at level 32 into Seadra, where everything will just be beefed up a little bit. It kind of falls into the Seeking trap of, I'm a good water type, but I just do what other water types do, and most of them end up doing that stuff better. So Horsey and Seadra are not the best Pokemon in Generation 1. In Generation 2, they do get a ridiculous evolution that, yeah, puts them in top tier, but for Generation 1, with Seadra being its final form, it's really hard for me to recommend it, especially because with the very same item, you can catch the likes of Tentacool. I really don't have that much to say about Horsey and Seadra aside from Horsey is super freaking cute, and Seadra looks kinda menacing. Yeah, they're average, just like Seeking. But unlike Seeking, it doesn't have the bonus of it can be a good physical attacker. Wanna use it? You can definitely make it work, but yeah, there's better stuff out there. Next up is a Pokemon that in Pokemon Yellow cannot be found in these routes, but it can be found in other stuff that we have visited, and we're not gonna go back to, so I'm just gonna talk about it now. it's Shelder. If you go over to Route 17 and 18, Cycling Road, also in Vermilion Harbor, you can fish these guys up with the Super Rod. And is Shelder any good? Well, honestly, it is. It is a very unique water type in the fact that it doesn't have a lot of special, but it has a lot of defense, and it's actually a pretty decent physical attacker. And it does get access to the move Clamp, which is a water type bite, basically. It will work exactly the same by making it so your opponent can't act for 2 to 5 turns, and depending on how fast you are compared to the opponent, you can chain it up and make it so that your opponent just faints little by little. And you can also use the move Supersonic, which is super interesting. See what I did there? And it gets access to Self-Destruct and Explosion, as well as Tri-Attack. So it can actually be a pretty good physical attacker. However, when it comes to Shelder, the first thing that you think about is not, is it a good water type? The first thing you think about is, look at that defense stat. Holy schmuck. With the Water Stone, Shelder becomes Cloyster, and then the highest base HP in the entire game is 250 on Chansey. But when it comes to the other stats, 180 is the highest of all. So Cloyster's defense is the highest stat in the entire game, meaning that if you're fighting a physical Pokemon, you really will not take a whole lot of damage. Now, Cloyster's HP is on the low side, meaning that the damage you take will mean a lot, even though it won't be a lot. It all comes into effective HP. The more HP you have, the less damage you take, kind of. Of course, that's not literal, it's percentages. When it comes to HP, you should always think of percentages. And that beastly defense, yeah, it would make the percentage be a lot lower, but because HP isn't objectively very high, then Cloyster's beastly defense doesn't really compensate for it that much. Does that make it a bad Pokemon? Absolutely not. It is still pretty darn fast. It still has a very respectable special, and because it gains the subtype of Ice, it is one of the best water-type Pokemon that can use Ice Beam and Blizzard. Well, because it's also an Ice-type Pokemon. Now, its attack is still pretty respectable. Some moves like Takedown, Double Edge, Self-Destruct, Explosion, and Tri-Attack will not go to waste on Cloyster. And it also gets the semi-exclusive move Spike Cannon, which basically hits 2 to 5 times with 20 power. And of course the water-type basics of Bubble Beam, Water Gun, Ice Beam, and Blizzard, and of course Surf. Now, is Cloyster an amazing water type? Not really. There are, once again, better water types out there if you want something that can be very bulky and still deal a lot of damage. I honestly think that Kingler is a better option than Cloyster, simply because it's more versatile. It's not as tanky, but it's more versatile. But is Cloyster useless? Absolutely not. It is a very, very powerful Pokemon, and I definitely recommend it if you are looking for a fun water type to use. Even if it's just for the novelty of saying, I'm using the Pokemon that has the highest number of base stats in the game. It's just a really neat Pokemon, and if you want to use it, it's definitely there, and it's definitely very viable. And last but not least, we have what might as well be a legend. Only in the Safari Zone, although you can get it in the game corner on Red and Blue. We have Dratini. Now, Dratini as it is, it's not really that much. It does get access to good moves, it is pretty reliable, it's not a weak Pokemon, but it's also not the strongest. But you see, just like most Pokemon, the first form is not really what matters. Dratini will evolve at level 30 into Dragonair. Just like Dratini, it has the exclusive Dragon type. No other Pokemon in the game is a Dragon type. And Dragon is a type that is only weak to 2 other types. The first one being Ice, so of course watch out for Ice-type Pokemon. But the other one is Dragon. And are there any Dragon-type moves in the game? Well, there's one. It's called Dragon Rage. It has fixed damage. So there is no move that can deal super effective Dragon-type damage in the entire game. That alone means that Dragonair has only one weakness. If that is enough to make electric types super viable, you can be damn sure that it is also enough to make dragon types just as viable, if not more. Now, of course, you are gonna watch out for those ice types because, yeah, just like any super effective damage, it will wreck you pretty hard if you're not prepared for it. But, once again, Dragonair's thing is not that it's a Dragonair and it's really good or really well balanced with pretty amazing stats all across the board. Dragonair's thing is when it evolves at level 55, the highest level requirement in the entire game, into the pseudo-legend Dragonite. Just look at those stats. Just look at them. You don't think that's high? Well, just compare that to other Pokemon. Dragonite is called a pseudo-legend for a reason. Oh, Venusaur also has 100 base special, that's not that. Oh, does Venusaur have 90 HP, 90 defense, and 80 speed? I don't think so. What makes Dragonite a force to be reckoned with is not its stats on their own. It's the fact that it has everything. No other Pokemon in the game has this stat distribution. Now, as a Dragonite, it does gain the subtype of Flying, which does increase its weakness to Ice, as well as give it an extra weakness in Rock. But those are its two only weaknesses in the entire game. Again, don't send it out against ice types because it will be hard. It is extremely powerful, but it can still take super effective damage. But if you're afraid of sending it out against rock types, honestly, don't be, because it's too powerful. It has too much defense and too much HP. It can take a super effective hit or two, or even three. Really, the only thing that you have to watch out for is those ice types, and everything else, well, it's not really gonna do a whole lot. Beam Flying gives it immunity to ground, so you can't Earthquake, you can't Dig. Fighting Bug, Fire, and Water are not very effective. Grass is a quarter effective, yeah, and everything else will deal normal damage. Dragonite is not to be messed with. If you meet one, have some Ice-type moves. I'm serious, if your team, by the end of its building, does not have at least one, or I would even recommend two, Ice Beams, then you're gonna have a really bad time against Dragonite, because it is just too powerful. But Brad, I can see that it has the stats. Does it have the moves? Honey, you don't know the half of it. Thunder Wave, Agility, Slam, Hyper Beam, Razor Wind, Horn Drill, Body Slam, Takedown, Double Edge, the Water-type basics of Bubble Beam, Water Gun, Ice Beam, Blizzard, and Surf, Thunderbolt, Thunder, Double Team, Fire Blast, Substitute, Strength, and it can even possibly know Wrap. Look, usually when talking about Pokemon, people ask me, Red, is there a most powerful Pokemon of all? And usually I really want to say no, there isn't. But when I look at a Pokemon like Dragonite, I have my doubts, because it has so many amazing stats. It gets so many amazing moves. It's hard to come up with an absolute moveset for this guy. Because when it comes to the answer to the question, is there an all-powerful Pokemon? If you point to Dragonite, honestly, you're not gonna be wrong. I would say that there is one Pokemon that is more powerful than Dragonite when it comes to raw power. Only one. And that Pokemon is an actual legendary. The fact that you can catch as many Dratinis as you want and train them up to Dragonite, usually it's not a good idea to have a team of 6 of the same Pokemon. And yeah, it's still not a good idea to have a team of 6 Dragonites. But if you want to have a team of 5 Dragonites and 1 Machamp, you're done. You don't need anything else. You just need the Machamp to deal with Ice types. Yeah, Dragonite takes a lot of work. It only evolves at level 55, and until then, it is very strong, but it is not the powerhouse that it is at the end. But holy smokes, this guy is just too powerful. It is considered a pseudo-legendary for a reason. It really is that strong. It is super hard to find, it is even harder to catch because it's in the Safari Zone. So if you're playing Red and Blue, I'd recommend going to the game corner, it will be easier, but oh my goodness, Dragonite. Ugh, so powerful. It really is the whole package. You can't go wrong with Dragonite. Wow, okay, yeah, so that took a long time. So when I started recording this, I was kind of afraid that I wasn't gonna have enough footage to cover all the bios, because those bios took about half an hour to record. So I did the entirety of routes 12, 13, 14, and 15 on normal speed. How long did that take? An hour and 40 minutes. Yeah, it took me an hour and 40 minutes to get through those routes. Oh my goodness. Because I used the rare candies, it was super easy to train up Frieza, so that was good. At least we got done what we had to do. But yeah, and then I decided to, I don't know, out of the blue, I just felt like doing it, so I decided to catch a bunch of Pokemon that I can catch. So I just went around the Kanto region, fishing around and running around a few patches of grass. And I also got myself 20 new Pokemon for the Pokédex, so that was cool. And how long did that take? Yeah, another hour and a half in Doduo speed, which I'm pretty sure is double. I mean, I think you can count right here. There. Then Doduo speed. There, I can probably count that, like how many seconds it took to do this little segment. I can probably do more accurate measurements later, but I'm just rambling at this point. It just took so long, and I didn't know it would take this long, and I wanted to take on Koga in this episode, but that didn't happen because we're already up to 15 minutes. And I'm rambling, making this video even longer, so I think we're gonna end it off here. With the new entries in our Pokédex, the many new entries, oh, before we end it off, real quick, I just want to point out that here in this one little patch of water, probably also in the Safari Zoo, you can find Magikarp and Gyarados. I'm not sure, well, I'm pretty sure it will work up here as well. But, you know, I didn't try it. So, oh, you can't get to this water. Okay, disregard what I said. So yeah, in that little patch of water right there, you can actually fish up random Gyarados, wild Gyarados, at a 10% chance with the Super Rod. So yeah, that's really cool. This way you don't have to train up Magikarp. You do have to catch a Gyarados, which is not always easy, but yeah, you know, you can do that. So yeah, that's pretty much all we have to do. Next time on Pokemon Generations, we're gonna finally tackle Koga and also run around the place looking at some miscellaneous stuff and maybe make it to the next town. So thank you all so much for watching this one, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.